Right, so this came about because I wanted to make a bot which basically creates fully optimized content on Autopilot. There's been a few other tools that come out with that. I'm not going to give them a free plug, but ridiculously overpriced and didn't go down too well. So here we go. So this is built with a combination of ChatGPT, the API from that, and Neuron, which is one of the best tools out there for optimization, and also one of the most cost-effective and slickest tools out there. So I'm going to get straight into it, and just this is actually running on a VPS in the cloud, so like a remote server. And this is my machine in the background to show where we're at, pretty much. So we've got actually 3 versions of this. One is to start only. So if we go back to the project, actually, you can actually see the test articles in here. These I've wiped out the content. And then the whole idea is for these different versions of the bot is that this one starts only. So you can run it on the first title, and then it will run through until it doesn't find any more and does it more, which is very handy if you want to start somewhere in the middle. Say you've already done about 4 or 5, and then we've got the start and end one, which is also very handy if you want to just do a few. For example, you might be missing the 3 in the middle, so you can start here and then end here, or end wherever you want. And then this other one runs all of them, which is the fastest way if you want to process everything in the project. Then you just put the project name in and it runs every single thing in the project, which is quite handy. These are great though, because sometimes you don't want to overwrite stuff that's in the project. So we'll go with the start and end for this example. And so I'm not actually touching or doing anything with the machine at all until it comes up with the input box. So I can't really pause this from running. Right, so there we go. We got the flow running. And yeah, it does take a little bit of time to go through it. But the whole idea was to make a system that, and what happens here is it will automatically log into Neuron based on a config file, which we have the details set in, which actually, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then so here is where you input the project name, which we'll do test.com. So yeah, basically the SOP that we have is to create AI content, but based on some more complicated prompts and stuff, and using the optimization. So we'd be going into the optimizer, running a title into the optimizer, and then my staff will come along and they will take the words which are suggested, the words that are suggested in the H2s and all that stuff, and then go and manually put that into ChatGPT, ask it for an article outline based on including all these words and stuff. Okay, let's get this running first. So we'll go for how to earn money online, the first one there, and then we'll just run it down to can I work on phone? And if you see this is a little bit sluggish, it's probably just my internet connection here to it. Okay, so can I work on phone? These have got to be exactly accurately typed in for it to pick it up. And then once you hit enter, that's it. It just goes and starts running. So yeah, the idea that we had was to semi-automatically optimize the articles by grabbing the suggested words from the headers, making the outline, then grabbing all the suggested words from Neuron, which is based on competition, and telling ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using to include these words. And then as you whittle them down, and you have to do quite a bit of manual work there because you're copying and pasting across. You can't copy them all exactly from here into ChatGPT. You've got to copy the unused ones into an Excel sheet. So then you can remove the ones that you don't need and all the rest of it, like the headers and stuff, and then use those. So there was a fair bit of manual stuff, but actually quite a fast way of making optimized articles in about 20 to 30 minutes for a pretty good quality article in the end. So I've taken my whole process anyway and wanted to see if I could actually make something that does this at the click of a button. And then you can just literally leave it running instead of paying someone to be manually doing it. And then it's endless. So this has already done the outline there. And obviously you can come back and edit this if you don't like one of the sections later and all that stuff. It just dumps it into here. And then it also saves it out as a document. Now, it hasn't got stuck. It just takes sort of a while to whir through all of the processes that it's doing. So you'll see as the words start going into green on the right-hand side, it's using those words up. And in the background, it's doing a load of other stuff that you can't see with Excel sheets and all this stuff. And what we will see is the score gradually going up. Now I better just move my mouse off. So the mouse is not in the VPS anymore. It's just on my computer in the background. Because you can't use the machine. That's the whole point of having the VPS, actually. You can't run this and do work at the same time. So we're already up at the score 50. Now, if I go back to here, and this is quite a handy hack for this whole system, because the issue was that once it's running in here, and when it goes down the page, if you don't remember what article it is, it doesn't tell you what number it's on. It doesn't tell you what it's done or not. So if you come back to here and you're trying to run it on all of them, and then you refresh this, so this has to be on another machine, obviously, then it's going to show you the word counts going up, the content scores going up. So that's a good way of knowing if you're even running the bot remotely, like I'm doing. I can be out and about with my laptop and then just be refreshing this content list and not even be looking at the remote VPS, and then I'll just be seeing that, oh, did it crash, or did it like complete, or did it is it halfway through, and you can keep refreshing it and the numbers will still keep going up. So if I refresh this now, I haven't even looked at the VPS, so I'm not sure if it's written the next section, but it probably has. So that's 536 words. Yeah, it's gone to 690 and a 62 score. So it's quite a handy way to check. And this, we can sit here and watch this. And so this is designed to generally bypass AI detection using some pretty complicated prompts, which I'm not going to go into, the secret sauce there. And it is also adding conclusions, FAQs, and all that kind of stuff. And we are using NLP in the FAQs. What else is there? So this should take about, it depends actually, it can take about 15 minutes. It can take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes generally. So if I leave this sitting there running, you can do a fair few articles overnight or through the whole day really, because you can just leave it running on the VPS. I might pause this for a little while. All right, so we're back. Instead of boring you with all of that sections creation, there's a few sections there. We're into the FAQs now. So what it's doing is it's asking the API for FAQs based on the title, and also to include the words and all that stuff, and using NLP. And then you'll see it there. It will knock out, and it's usually like 4 to 8 FAQs. It varies. And it's also formatting everything at the same time. So this is ready to go. Actually, apart from the H1 title, it doesn't capitalize that, but everything else is literally ready to copy and paste with the H2s and the H3s set already. I think it's running a bit slower because I've run a whole bunch of tasks on this now. Should have done a restart with the server. Basically, what this is doing is it's gone up to the top. This is basically just replacing a human to do this. Now, it's not going to replace jobs. It's actually going to make more jobs because we're going to be pumping out so much content that we need then more staff to upload it, more staff to do interlinking until some AI software comes out with something for that. We still need to be making AI images for all of these, finding and embedding YouTube videos and all that sort of stuff. So it's actually putting the workload up, but the amount of production that we can do is literally just gone through the roof overnight. It's going to be sort of unlimited. So I think it's still messing about with questions 5 and 6. And this whole format is based on my setup, my system already. So we've got a bunch of pretty well thought out sections, conclusion, and then FAQs, like a general sort of standard informational article layout. But of course, this could be modified for anything, collection pages or product pages or basically whatever you want. Right, hopefully there's not many more questions. It's probably going to give a number 7. It's just crawling through. Right, I'll give it a pause. Right, so it's writing out question 7. And as you see on the right hand side, there's no more terms to suggest on the unused terms. So it's done everything. And you see that the score is 70. You might be thinking, oh, that's pretty low. But that's because it's taking, there's quite a bit of weight in the score from the title itself and also from the meta data. So the meta title and the meta description, which has not been filled in yet. I don't think it has. It may have if I'm overwriting this. Generally, the score, though, it's hitting it once it's doing all the included stuff, will be anywhere from like 70 to 100 or 70 to 95, pretty much. Okay, so it has got these in, right. Actually, what it did there, and it's kind of jumping around. You can't really see what it's doing because it's kind of like all automated. What it hadn't done was put the main title in, and actually, this is not the bot messing up right now. It's because I hadn't cleared the metadata, so it's actually adding more metadata to that. So yeah, just ignore that part. But generally, it will be adding the metadata in one time only, and that would have been blank before it was run. So I think 80 is our score that we're ending up with. Oh, okay. So it's cleared the description out. That's good. And the score did jump up, yeah, as I was trying to say earlier, like from 70 to 80 because it added the page title in at the top as an H1, which is the last thing that it does. So that's usually worth about 10 points on the optimization, as long as it's formatted properly and it's got the right keywords and stuff in it, which it would do in this case. And so then that's saved as a Word document on the computer, not as a Google Doc. It was actually difficult or impossible to get it to put it into Google Docs. And then you can't really see it, but it's basically gone back to the project, the original project, which we started running on, and then it's gone to the next article in line. And it will just keep doing that until it gets to the one where it finds the one which we set as the endpoint. Or if you run it all, then it will just run through all of them and until it can't, until it runs out of articles in that project. And it hasn't crashed. It just takes a while. Messing about with all the data in the background. So there we go. So it's written out the outline. Seems pretty decent. Types of modems. Yeah, it could maybe be better, that types of modems one, but it's probably going to do quite a good section down below with the different types of modem section. And as I say, this is not any different than a human staff person. So here you can kind of see the Excel. Sometimes you see it pop up like that. It's not that any different really than a staff person manually doing this, although they could be thinking a lot more if their English level was high. But a lot of the times, we are just running a system to try and get content out, which is optimized that ranks as supporting content. No, we're not trying to make money from this content per se. It's just part of a bigger silo that is all going to be interlinked and then giving topical relevance and all the rest of it. So the readability obviously has got to be good, and the delivery based on the query has got to be pretty good. But we're not trying to convert people to buy products here. If we start getting traffic and whatever, then we might revisit that and then be filling them up with affiliate links or ecom shopping boxes and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is basically for informational purposes generally. And so this is knocking it out pretty good. We've got these extra semicolons and dashes and stuff at the end of the headings there, so that we've got actually a placeholder for the bot to find the next section. So that will actually be deleted in the published version. And you will see that it sometimes every time actually in all the paragraphs that there's a red underline there, which is saying that it's missing a space. It's not actually missing a space. What that is it's where it should be a paragraph break. So the API is not giving the paragraph break properly, or Neuron is not understanding that paragraph break. So every time there's like a red line there, someone's got to click in between that line and hit enter. But that's all like minor stuff that whoever's actually uploading the article will hit those breaks in a few seconds and then do a find and replace on those symbols in 2 seconds, and that's gone. So this one's going quite swiftly, and 71 score is pretty nice to see. So if you come back here, we'll just do a little refresh. We already see what's going on anyway, but then we can see that article's being written. It's 900 words already, and it's beautiful. When you're out and you set this running in the back, on the VPS, and then you come and you check this off, and you can just see, after an hour or two, and you've done like most of the articles, your day's work's getting done, or your staff's work's getting done while on complete autopilot. It's kind of crazy. So where's it at now? Let's give it a little pause. I'll play it back actually because we're on the conclusion section. This one's looking good, 75. So actually the score is higher at this point because I didn't clear the metadata out. So normally when you whack the metadata in, when the bot whacks the metadata in at the end, it jumps right up. But this is already taking that into account because it's there. So 78 is good. We'll be happy with 78, even if that's all it achieves. But this hasn't done the title yet. This is probably going to be a really high scored one. And it's onto the FAQs, which probably... Okay, so the FAQs might make the score jump up a little bit. We've got a few unused words there, which is incredible, really, from like a few hundred word suggestions. But then I'm sure that the main title, which is going to be an H1, is probably going to add, at least 5 or 10 on the score there. There it is. Knocking those questions out. Right, so it seems to, I think, it's still doing the FAQs there. But yeah, basically the cost of this is minimal. If you compare this to some of the crazier priced auto-optimized AI stuff, it's just kind of ridiculous. This is once you're using the actual API from ChatGPT, it's costing cents, a few cents for stuff. That doesn't take into account all the development and the time and all that stuff. But we may be actually offering the service to create these for people. So if anyone's interested, then do let me know. And it will be very, very cost effective as well. Basically, you can just lean back, fire all your stuff, sit back and drink a cup of tea. In fact, actually, as I mentioned, you can't really fire your stuff because you've got tons more stuff for people to process afterwards. But in terms of productivity and cost effectiveness, this is absolutely game changing. Right, so it's gone and used up another word. So we're not actually telling it to use the words in the FAQs because I've tried doing that in the past, and then what you end up with is a load of FAQs which are based on the words that you want to force it to include, so that the FAQs become a bit junk in a way. Like they're not that good. So I'd rather have like the best quality FAQs. And what we find actually is that it uses up all of the unused words most of the time in all the top content up the top. So now we've got types of mode, and you'll see when it goes up to H1, let's just click H1, that's jumped up to 93 because it's so powerful in terms of the SEO score. So this, I would have to say, is a pretty successful article. In terms of optimization, of course, a human could write this article and do research and all kinds of stuff. But what we're trying to do is like satisfy the algorithm and get super optimized stuff out there like as fast as possible. Right, so that one's done, really. It's just about to save it. It's just about to do the meta description and then save it. And in a nutshell, rather a big nutshell, 24 minutes, that is it. So that's done 2 articles I've been pausing it a few times, so it's probably closer to the 30 minutes mark, or a bit over 30 minutes for a couple of articles there. And then, as you see, it's going back to the project, and it's going to keep on going. The machine keeps on ticking over, even while you sleep. That's it. That's just an overview of the AI bot to create fully optimized stuff on Autopilot. Cheers.